Hi, my name's Paul Fagg. I'm the National Product Manager for Mercedes-Benz Trucks. We're here today in one of our new Mercedes-Benz vehicles, and we're going to talk about the comfort and ergonomics of the interior of the cab. Okay, so on our new generation of trucks, we have this simple square key now, so it's no longer a turnkey function. It still has central lock-in, so you can see the lock and the unlock buttons on the key there itself. But simply just insert this key in here, and this is a two-stage detent switch. So when I push it down one stage, it's going to turn the ancillary or the ignition on, like that. So we have ignition lights, we have full ignition, but if I push it to the second stage of the detent, that's the start function of the truck. Alright, so in the controls on the steering wheel, we have this menu function here. So what we can do, as the first stage, it has an idle adjust function. So when we're sitting here at idle, you can see on the dash, it's got engine speed there. We can simply just push the up arrow up to 750 RPM. So I can hold that high idle for you. So that could be used in functions where PDO is required and things like that. Alright, so working our way around the interior of the cab. Up the top here you can see it's quite empty at the moment because this is a new truck. But we have 4 DIN slots here. So what we have up in the top here is behind this one with the small holes in it, that pulls out and is actually pre-wiring for a 12 volt CB radio, including aerial. So it's really a plug and play feature that pull this out, put your UHF in, push it back in, you're ready to go. These other DIN slots also have available, so you might have a UHF and a CB. You can have telematics system in there, so they're all set up for anything you want to plug into them. The next couple of switches on the side here, so this one here looks like a cab door with an arrow coming through the roof. These are your sunroof control functions. So top one is to open the sunroof, bottom one is to close it again. So in our trucks we have a sliding and tilt-in sunroof. So holding the open button down once, we'll just put it up in the tilt position, allow a little bit of air in. If you hold it down again, it's going to completely open the sunroof. And then obviously the other button is just the close function. So same deal in reverse, hold it down once, it'll close it all the way. The next two on here, we have 2 light displays. So one is your interior lighting, which obviously turns your interior lights on and off. The next one has a book under it. So what that'll do is turn these reading lights on and off. A second function of these switches too, if you actually hold them down, it's also your dimmer switch for your interior lighting. So it's a bit hard to see in here, but you can see the lights, they'll dim themselves to almost an off position and then ramp themselves back up again. So one of the big highlights you'll notice in our new truck is the new ergonomic dash. So you can see from a driver's position, the entire dash wraps around much like a cockpit for the driver. So everything's within arm's reach. So all the switches, the safety features, the radio, trailer brakes, diff locks, everything is within arm's reach of the driver. It gives them a nice ergonomic, easy to operate feel. We have this switch here. So this truck's fitted with an electric cab tilt pump. And what that means is the cab won't actually tilt over until you flip this switch. The reason behind that is it's a bit of a safety feature. So if you've got anything loose within the cab, it's up to the driver to get up in here, check the cab first, and then you can flip the switch and say, yep, the cab's okay to be tilted. And then it also activates the electric pump. The other switch we have here, this is the fridge on and off switch. So underneath the bunk there's a fridge. Simply turn it on and you can adjust the temperature from within the fridge itself. We have a 24 volt power outlet here and another one over here. So a couple of chargers there, so either charge your phone or a GPS unit or a dash cam. Okay, so you can see the climate control system from the truck itself here. It's a pretty simple function of just adjusting the temperature to what you want, up and down like that. If you need the AC on, you can turn the AC on. And then you've got the 2 dials on the right, so similar to most systems. The dial on the left you can adjust the fan speed. The dial on the right you can choose your direction, whether you want it to come out on the windscreen, on the driver or on the driver's feet. Demister function as well included in there, and then the air recirc buttons. You can see as well this one says auto on it, so it's an auto climate control system, which isn't standard on all our trucks, but some of them do have it. And then it's just simply a matter of picking the temperature you want, and the truck itself will monitor the temperature from various points in the cab and adjust the outputs to whether it needs it on the windscreen or at your feet and things like that. Just below that you'll see a few other buttons here. So we've got our hazard light button right in the middle, and some of these other functions on the side are to tie into our safety system. So The first button there is your reverse buzzer, so you actually have the function to turn your reverse buzzer off. Early morning delivery, some companies will ask you that you turn the buzzer off to avoid disturbing neighbours, so we have the ability to do that. These two buttons here are to do with the rear air suspension. So this is what we call return to normal ride height button. So if you are coupling up to a trailer and your suspension's raised or lowered, once you're ready to get moving again, all you got to do is jump in the cab, press that button, and that'll automatically return your vehicle to its neutral or standard ride height. The stop button essentially stops the suspension from adjusting itself if it is in the process of going up or down. The next button up here is our lane assist function. So up on the dash we have a camera there that's monitoring the line markings on either side of the road. If the truck is drifting out of either side of those line markings, it will sound a warning. In some situations the roads are incomplete or there's a lot of repairs on them. Sometimes you might want to turn that off. The next one here is our active brake assist system. So all our vehicles, when they have the safety pack fitted, have an active brake assist system. And what that is automatic braking if you're in an incident where you may be rear-ending another vehicle. You do have the ability to turn that off as well. Next button at the end here is the hill hold function. So all our trucks come standard with a hill hold function. When you stop on a hill with this system activated, we'll hold the vehicle for 3 seconds before it disengages the brakes. So it gives you a little bit of time to get your foot off the brake and over to the accelerator. And our last one here is stability control. So we do have the function to turn stability control and traction control off. And it will display on the dash when your traction control or stability control is turned off. And again with your active brake assist as well, if that's turned off, you'll have a light on the dash telling you that it's been turned off. Alright, so at the left of the steering wheel we'll have our what we call our ancillary equipment or light-in switches. So this is used to control indicators, headlights and wipers. So simply up or down operates our indicators. There's a switch here which will turn the wipers on and off. This truck's also fitted as standard with automatic wipers. So when you're at the first stage, there's a small camera on the windscreen and that will detect water on the windscreen and automatically turn your wipers on and off. There's also a small switch on the end of the stalk which will operate the washers for the windscreen. And then finally pushing it down will turn the high beams on and off, but that'll only activate when your headlights are on. So just up on the right hand side of the dash you can see our headlight switch up here. So zero or neutral position means everything is off. We can flick over to park lights, which the light will come up on the dash telling you your park lights are on. Then you can flick over to headlights as well. But you'll notice to the left of that neutral position there's a small A, so that's automatic. So our trucks are fitted as standard with automatic headlights. When you're in that A position, it just monitors the UV and the light outside. And once it reaches a certain point it will turn the headlights on automatically. And again, when your headlights are on, simply holding that lever down will turn your high beams on and that'll also light up on the dash and let you know that your high beams are on. Alright, so the switches are available on the driver's door and these are all standard. So up the top you have your mirror selection button. So we'll just select the left or right hand mirror and it's simple adjustment of the main mirror. So the main mirror is a full electrical adjustment, the spotter mirror is still a manual adjustment, so you have to reach out and adjust that one. Underneath it there's two more switches for the mirror. So the left one is heated mirrors. So on the colder mornings you can turn the heated mirrors on and it defrosts them quite quickly. The right hand switch is a what we call our mirror adjustment. So it's adjust the mirror by 10 degrees. So when you're in a reversing trailers, simply press that. It'll adjust the outer mirror or the passenger side mirror by 10 degrees and just give you a slightly better line of vision. Just below that we have our two window switches. So standard is power windows in all the Mercedes-Benz trucks. Simple operation of just up and down, same as you would any other electric window. And finally below that we have our central lock-in button. So once you're within the cab, you can unlock only one door when you're outside with the central lock-in, but once you're inside the cab, you can just click a button, unlock both doors, or click the other button and lock them both again. Alright, so moving over to the driver's door on this new Mercedes-Benz cab, the comfort and ergonomic from the dash continues around to the driver's side, but we also have a few other little features to make life a bit more comfortable when you're driving our vehicles. So all our vehicles are fitted with pull-down sun blinds on the driver and passenger side, so very good for early morning driving when the sun's coming up on the horizon. It keeps it well out of the driver's vision. You can see on our mirrors on the outside of the vehicle, nice big main mirror up the top there, so good line of vision. But underneath, again, a nice big spotter mirror as well, so good vision of your trailers and what's going on down the right hand side in your blind spot there. Okay, so working our way further down the dash, we have our two brake controls here. So the one on the left is just simply a park brake. Pull it up to release it, pull it back down to re-engage it. The one on the right is our trailer brake or stretch brake, so that's permanently off. You just simply pull that down to apply trailer brakes at whatever level you need them to apply at. Also use it for coupling and uncoupling trailers, so you can do your tug test with that trailer brake. So a little bit further down, we have one more switch down here. So this is just your diff locks. So our trucks are all fitted standard with diff lock and cross locks. First stage will apply just diff lock, your front and rear diff lock only, and then second stage will apply your cross locks. So for the steering wheel adjustment within this truck, it's quite simple. We have a small button down at your left hand footwell there. Push that in, and you can adjust the tilt of the steering wheel and also the rake, so you can bring it in and out, basically move it to wherever you want. There's quite a lot of movement in the wheel, and find the optimal position for the driver. Once you take your foot off the button down below, it's locked in place and you're ready to drive. So the last few switches we have on our dash are just put down here on the driver's side. Working our way from the right across, we have this one, which is our rear work light. So we have a work light for coupling and uncoupling trailers on the back of this cab. This second switch here with the number 1 in it, that's just an ancillary switch or a blank switch. And what it means is it's pre-wired up to the central gateway inside the cab here. And if you want to run any electrical additionals on this truck, it's already pre-wired with a switch. You just need to connect them down there. And finally, we have this on here with the small spotlights on the roof. So all our trucks are standard have some pre-wiring included. So there's pre-wiring to the back of the cab to run an additional work light, which operates off this switch, or there's pre-wiring up in the roof for additional headlamps. So if you're to retrofit some headlamps afterwards, the wiring's already there. All you got to do is fit them to the roof. All right, so in between these two toolboxes underneath the bunk, we also have this pull-out fridge. So simply slide it out. It's a 25 litre fridge drawer. Lift it up, and you've also got the fridge temperature adjustment within that in there. Alright, so I'm moving around to the back of the cab here. You can see in this truck, this is what we call one of our Metro trucks. So what we fitted our Metro trucks is our premium comfort foam mattress. If you were moving up into some of the bigger trucks or our line haul vehicles, you actually get an inner spring pillow top mattress in these. It sits almost twice as high as this, so a bit more comfort for the long haul drives. So if we lift the mattress up, simply just pull that up there. We have actually a latch mechanism, so you can lock the bed away up the top there and it will hold up in place. Underneath the bed you can see quite a few things here. It's all sealed, so it keeps the road noise down to a minimum. But when we do open these up, you've got access to your outer toolboxes underneath that bed. So anything you have in the toolboxes, you don't need to be getting in and out of the truck to go and find them. In the right-hand toolbox, you may have noticed that it was all tools and jacks and things. When we move over to the other side, it's an empty toolbox, also quite a bit more space in there, so you can get your overnight bag and a few other things in there. Back here in the sleeping compartment, we also have a few controls for the driver to use without having to get out of the bed. So a simple night light, that can be turned on and off at the back wall. But volume controls for the stereo, so you can adjust the stereo up and down. And similar to the overhead switches up there, you can open and close the sunroof and dim interior lights or turn your reading lights on and off and things like that. So standard fitment in all our sleeper cabs. We have this smoke detector up above the driver's door there. Simple safety feature for sleeping in the cab overnight. But also standard in all cabs is this air gun behind the driver's seat. So it's simply just a simple air nozzle connected to the truck's air system. It gives you the ability just to quickly blow out or clean the truck easily. Down the side of the driver's seat we have this, what we call our ECAS or electronic controlled air suspension. So this is simply a control panel, so you can hop out of the truck, have a look at the rear suspension, pressing any button will activate it. You can see the green lights have come on there. This truck has rear air suspension, so we simply just press across, get over to the rear suspension, hit the up and down button and the suspension will go up. We can stop that at any point. When we go back to the neutral position, we know that suspension's up, so all we need to do is press down and it will turn itself off and return itself to its normal ride height position. All the Mercedes-Benz trucks have a comfort grandma seat fitted as standard. So working our way from the top, there's a variety of functions within this seat that can make the driver's working day a bit more comfortable and a bit more relaxing. First off, there's a switch up behind the driver's headrest. When we pull this switch up, the headrest itself will tilt backwards and forwards and allow full adjustment there for the driver. Second switch is up on the top here on the right hand side. Pulling that up is a simple quick release to be able to get the seat backward and forward, give you access to the bunk or raise or lower the bunk. Also on the left hand side of the seat you can adjust the seat belt, so depending on the height of the driver they can adjust the seat belt right up high, get it nice and close over their shoulder. All our comfort seats are fitted with these armrests as standard, so they'll simply come down and there's a small twisting wheel under there, and you use that to adjust the height of the armrest. So find the optimal position for the driver. So continuing around the functions of the seat, you can see down the right hand side we have a lot more switches here as well. This first switch is just a simple quick release. So the reason for that switch is that when the driver is in the cab, having it out will allow air in the seat and give them the comfortable drive, or give the driver the comfortable feel. When the driver needs to get in and out of the cab, simply press that button. It'll drop all the air out of the seat and give you a bit more room between your legs and the steering wheel to be able to get outside of the cab. The next switch is the heated seat. So all our trucks are standard with heated seats. You add mild heat or hot basically, so you can pick your temperature there. This next switch, this is the ratchet adjustment for the seat height. So I call it a ratchet adjustment because you do have to adjust it like a ratchet. So pushing it down a few times will bring it down, bringing it up a few times brings it up. The final lever at the back of the seat, this is the tilt adjuster. So pushing the lever down will actually tilt the entire seat on a pivot. So once you find your optimum position there, release it, lifting it up will just tilt the backrest, so you can find your ideal position for the backrest. Again, once you release it, it's locked in place. Okay, so moving around to the front of the seat, you'll find a few more adjustments can be made here as well. So this first switch on the right hand side is the forward or lateral motion of the seat. So in its down position you have a little bit of flexibility for the seat to slide back and forward on rough roads. In the up position it's locked in place, it's quite a firm fit there. On the other side a similar switch but on the opposite direction, so when it's in the down function you can see the compression or the suspension of the seat's quite soft. When we pull it right up it's quite firm, it's almost in a locked position, so that's an adjustment of the suspension. In between those two there's another large switch that you can hold in the middle there, and that'll slide the base of the seat out. So for drivers with longer legs, they can still sit in there and have the seat nice and comfortable down and behind the back of their knees. Again, just pull that lever and can push back in place. And then finally down below you'll see this big lever at the bottom here. That will adjust the entire seat backwards and forwards. So finding that ideal driving position. And for those with extra long legs, we have a small black lever next to that. If you pull them both up together, only when the bunk is up, you need to have the bunk up out of the way, you get another 50mm backwards movement, so you can go up right up against the storage cabinets at the back of the truck. So I hope you enjoyed the overview of the interior of the new Mercedes-Benz truck. If you have any further questions, please contact your local Mercedes-Benz dealership. In the meantime, drive safe.